Brayshaw takes a beauty.
That's it. I'm growing a beard this week.
Thank you. Time back on. That's Ruffcraft, big boy.
Welcome back to Gus and Gawny. I think we got to address the elephant in the room to start off with, Gus.
Yeah, so the observant listener would know that when clicking on the play button, there's often a guest name that pops up next to the Gus and Gawny podcast title. Yep. So it would have been Luke Jackson this week. And this happens to everyone. He mistook 10:15 start for 11:15.
Yep. And I get when I was young, I used to sleep in till all hours of the day. I think I got till like 11 one day.
Okay.
He slept in.
Yep. And not only slept in, he has in doing so broken a commitment he made to the podcast.
Yep.
So here you go. We've got a lot of friends of the podcast. Do we have podcast enemies?
Is
Luke Jackson on the podcast enemy list?
He's on a ban list.
Okay.
I'd
Enemy's
like
a bit
to
strong.
see, yeah. I think we got to get something in writing.
Yep. Maybe a
I'd
video.
like him on because I think we'll go into maybe what we had for him at some point during this podcast because
It's some good stuff.
yeah, but once we go through it now, we don't need to go through it with him.
So maybe a video apology sent to us.
And then we can then upload it to our socials.
Because that's what really is important here, the people. He's let down the people.
Yeah.
So I think
and they want to see him.
they want to see some
know
dogger.
They want to know why he played with his hamstring torn last year.
Yeah, they want to know. Oh, geez, I don't want to. I've got some really good stuff for him.
My
So I'm
favourite
thinking-
one.
Go on.
In the middle, I think we spoke about this when we decided to go and do Sportsman's Night, Gus and Gawny, without Gibbo, funny enough, because he thinks he's part of the Weebley.
Yeah, Weebly.
Weebley, whatever it is.
fair
Anyway,
enough.
my dogger thing.
Sure.
Last year would have been middle of the hub. We're training in Maroochydore. Big session, one of our full ground drills, good 20-minute drill. I'm playing on dogger. He sort of just stops. I'm like, what are you doing, dog? He goes, what are we doing? I'm like, oh, we're training. Like, we've got a game in a couple of days. We're up in Maroochydore, like we're training. He goes, no. Like, what are we doing? Like, go on, he goes, there's a clear sign with COVID that we've got to try and find another planet, and we're up here wasting our time in Maroochydore. We've got to be looking for another planet to live on.
Wow.
That was in the middle of a drill. And I wanted to know if how his quest had gone. So if that can be in the video, I know you're relatively
real bad.
close with him because he lives with your parents.
Yep.
You're playing cards with him last night.
Playing a bit of cards.
Can we potentially get that in the video?
Yeah, look, there's a few things from the Brayshaw household is an absolute treasure trove for dogger stories. So we'll save all of them for when he comes on. But without him, this is probably going to be a shorter podcast. But we like quality over quantity, I guess. So
Okay, we'll talk GWS, then we'll go to Gibbo.
let's
And
talk.
also, just before we go to GWS, we are every week we send Langers a text. So for those that say Wise and Langers on the podcast, I think we need a bit more people power.
Yep.
Because
agreed.
he's now back on social, as we've seen. You launched that Instagram for him with a couple of stories of your own.
Yep.
I think we need people because we ask him every single week.
We got a response this week, which is more
he
than
replied.
He actually replied.
And he said he'd think about it.
And he thought for the total of about 10 seconds and then said no, but he replied, and that's a good start. I think it's because it's his 100th game this week. We've got a big positive Lingers segment coming up, which I actually forgot to mention to you before.
We're this close to getting the finance crew over the road to go through his contract and have a look what sort of ASA requirements he has and if he needs to fill in some value. Is that
hours.
Some
Fill
hours.
some hours to the...
Because we can't do community clinics, so I'm sure there's some hours there some way, and we sort of force his hand, which is not what I want to do.
Nah, well, I'd take it at this point.
Okay.
But anyway.
GWS, we lost.
GWS, yeah, we did lose.
First half was
This is our
ordinary.
third podcast.
We didn't do one post Collingwood.
Yeah.
We decided to have
Post-loss. How did we go after Adelaide?
I think we did a good podcast. We got us back. We got us back on the winners list.
True. Well, here we are again.
Yeah. Well, we were talking a lot about COVID hit, and we had Western Bulldogs coming up, and it was
okay.
very interesting. Still, COVID's around. First half, GWS, they are a solid midfield.
Big bodies.
And they taught our midfield a bit of a lesson early on, which me and you were involved in. And we tried to peg them back late, but a side like that doesn't just let you peg them back in the last quarter. You got to do a bit of groundwork over the first three, and we weren't able to do it.
Yep. Rousing halftime speech. Couldn't get us up, unfortunately.
For those watching at home, I did notice on the big screen that you were in the middle, and they were clearly showing that you were speaking. What did you go with?
just dug down to the depths of my soul.
You were hitting people in the chest.
Yeah, for trying to fire us up because we were our contest was way off in the first half. So I was trying to fire up some emotions, get some response from the boys. And to be fair, I think I'll take 100% credit for the response in the second half.
Well, that was my read. My read was I'd done a lot of speaking for about 2 hours pre-game during the first and second quarters, and I just thought, let's see if we can get a different voice. And you're a well-respected leader now at the club and very good articulator.
That's a good word as well, articulator, Max.
Not very loquacious.
No.
You tend to be quiet.
Actually, no. This year I've been rather loquacious. Okay. I've actually, from the wing.
You angry?
Yeah. Very angry. Well, you'll actually get another. I've got some questions here for you, Max.
Okay,
So
we'll get to that.
We'll save the...
And there's no easy games in footy, and not that we thought Jitterbus was an easy game. They're sitting 8th on the ladder, and we knew in the Canberra game in round 3 that I think it was even at half time or maybe behind. And they brought some stars back in since that game as well, like Lockie Whitfield who kicked the winner. Disappointing, but what a chance to bounce back against probably. I mean, we call every team we play the informed team of the comp, but Port, I'd say,
they're up there.
They're up there, and they're also their strength is our weakness in terms of our first quarters have been poor, and I would, without any stats to back this up,
all speculation here.
I'd say Port would be one of the best first quarter teams going around.
All right, I'll fact check that.
We'll go to Champion Data and have a look at that. So it's going to be on, and obviously we had a disappointing game against them last year that we want to bounce back from.
So we're looking forward to that. The good thing about a 5-day break is that you don't get a lot of time to wallow in your pity for yourself after having lost a game.
There's less days between the games.
So we've got a review today, day off tomorrow, and then we basically fly. I think to be confirmed. Gibbo maybe has some news. I don't want to step on any news toes, so we'll let Gibbo speculate in that space.
Well, let's go to Gibbo now.
Yep. It's Benny Gibson.
He's got the news. He's got the news.
The speculation is that we will be flying Wednesday, but at this point, COVID, anything can change. I did want to talk about that Dylan Friends podcast appearance of yours.
Well, let's talk about that.
I'm all for it. Like, spread your wings, get as much exposure.
Yeah, we know. Don't worry, we know.
Everywhere.
But for me, when I had the Lil and Ben podcast, it was a major issue for you guys. So I was just wondering.
What do you mean?
Well, you guys didn't particularly like it when I had another podcast. So I was wondering, Gus, do you think?
Oh,
it's
no,
okay?
sorry.
So I'm a guest here. It's slightly different. I'm a guest on a podcast, and I helped. You didn't speak about Gus and Gawny on Lil and Ben, where I have spoken about Gus and Gawny, and I'm not sure if you've listened to it. It's probably a bit too long, an hour and 15, but
the Dylan Friends
drag a little.
But hashtag Positive Lingers was a whole 10-minute conversation.
Brilliant.
And we spoke about you, Angus, and how we wanted to get you on, but you
Is that so?
You denied his first.
So here we go. I've got his first. It's funny you mentioned that, Max. I'm actually happy you brought that up because I'm the social media manager of the Gus and Gawny podcast, and I've had this correspondence with, I assume it's Dill, running the Dylan Friends stuff.
It's a great assumption.
Dill says, I think it's time for a collab, if you're keen. I don't want to come on too strong, but I'm keen. Gus and Gawny on Dylan Friends. And I said, I love where your head's at. I'll talk.
This is you?
This is me responding now.
Yeah.
So I said, I love where your head is at.
He could be thinking it's me, though.
And I've said, I'll talk to Gawny more in depth Monday.
Okay, so no.
But stay tuned. And he said, easy, brother, no stress, go D's. So we've had.
And when was that?
That's a good question as well. It was 8 weeks ago.
So, and you haven't made any.
Well, I think we spoke. We must have spoke about it. In fact, I do remember talking. I was like, we should go on Dylan Friends. And you said, yeah, 100%. You and me together. Definitely.
Yep. And then.
So where did you go? You went over the top.
Well, I've been contacted. Here we are. 27th of April.
Why? How long ago was that?
No,
April.
sorry.
27th of April was when I got this one as well.
He sent the exact same. I'm on the Gus and Gawny Instagram. This isn't great.
You need to sort your technology out.
Here we go.
Bit of back and forth there.
Monday, last week. Hi, mate. Hope all is well with you. Congrats on the season thus far. I know you're a very busy man and got a lot going on, but I'd love to get you in the studio for a pod. Again, no qualms whatsoever, but if there's any level of keenness, would make it as easy as possible for you. Either way, no stress, go D's.
Okay.
So he hasn't, it seems like he's asked two different people. He's asked Gus and Gawny and he's asked Gawny. Gawny said yes. Mm-hmm. Gus and Gawny said yes.
Yeah.
But Gawny's got on first.
That's okay. Well,
but we spoke about Gus and Gawny for majority of it.
That's good. Yeah. I think that's okay. I was a bit torn because, and to be fair, we haven't exactly been proactive in making that happen. But I'll have to have a listen. 10 minutes of positive lingers. That's all I need.
Some of our off the record chat, myself and Dill, he's quite scared of us.
Yep. As in terms of
he thinks we're an up and coming AFL podcast.
Yeah.
That could rival him.
See, I think we're up and coming lifestyle podcast.
Click numbers, is he quite
I didn't
up
ask
there?
him click numbers.
Do we have our own click numbers? I don't know where they are.
Are they in the millions?
They are approaching.
Approaching millions.
Brilliant. Well, that's good for us.
Yeah, it's weird we only have 5,000 Insta followers. Maybe a lot of our people aren't Instagram.
Maybe it's because you're resharing Dylan Friends podcast vision instead of some Gus and Gawny snippets.
Are they in my bio? No.
No, that's true. Well, okay. Look, I'm glad we've talked that over. That was another thing that
we're friends again.
We're friends again. There's one other thing that I need to tick off. Actually, no. You know what?
We'll keep going.
We'll keep going with the news.
Yep.
It's news time.
The Weebly was a bit of an issue, obviously, for you guys last week. The click rate on that, it would have probably had 1 in the past 3 years. The past month is now plus 829%. So a few listeners thought they'd check out my portfolio.
Does that go to?
I have no doubt they were extremely disappointed.
Does
that
that relate to cash in pocket for you, or?
Nah, there's no monetary benefit, but
that's a real shame.
Great to hear that some of the
listeners. Because then we'd have
listeners...
to organise some sort of contract, Angus, with the way that we've obviously promoted the Weebly.
Exactly.
Yeah, but
so,
it's nothing yet.
Nothing to
not friends of ours quite yet. Yep. Weebly. Watch this space.
We'll go down the footy path. So VFL Saturday night, ventured out there. It was about 3 degrees at Casey Fields.
Yep.
Wiedemann, very impressive. 21 disposals, 3 goals. Probably the pick of them. Jake Bowie, another one. 29 disposals. I don't know how close he is to a debut, but do you like what you've seen there? Because he looks ready from my point of view.
Yeah, I've watched a lot this year of the VFL, and Bowie has impressed me. There was some super efforts from the guys on the weekend. One you mentioned, it was 3 degrees. Also from the GWS boys, but 4 of them come to the game, including one sat on the bench. Aaron Vandenberg.
He started warming up for that game at 11 a.m.
Yeah, and then he went down. Chandler, Jake Bowie and Ben Brown were all emergencies and at the ground. And then to look at how Bowser went and played, I think Ben Brown might have been on limited game time.
Went off at 3/4 time.
Vanders may have been as well. But yeah, some good performances. Unfortunately, a loss down there as well, in front the whole game, and I think GWS managed to just get over the line late. Jesse Hogan.
Yeah.
Who won the battle? Hogan v Bradkey.
Hogan had 2 behinds.
So Bradkey. Well done, Bradkey.
Hey, taking a big scalp.
Is that been released that Bradkey's now doing some defence work?
We haven't spoken about it, but if anyone's been watching the VFL, I'm sure they've been impressed.
He's gone full Ben McAvoy. He's gone ruck to key back.
How is the harvest going?
Well, we got Hawthorn next week, so we'll do a big boy segment next week.
Okay. We have Hawthorn
after Port.
I think Port's next week, which is probably this week now, actually. Yeah, cool.
You've had a sloppy start to the show.
Okay, there's some direct feedback.
I think he was rattled by Dogger's Snapchat early days. Injury news. So Mitch Brown missed the VFL on the weekend. He's got a little bit of a foot issue. Mm-hmm. Bailey Laurie, unfortunately, had another setback. His fractured cheekbone earlier in the year had him on the sidelines. He debuted last week in the VFL, but he's hurt his shoulder.
Saw him in a sling game day, and I did not know that was happening.
Yeah, so he trained through it, sore shoulder, but obviously not ideal. And Jonesy had a little bit of a calf niggle, so he didn't play either. That's all the injury news. So it's still a pretty healthy list.
We went from 20 in the VFL down to 17. So 3 more Casey guys were able to get a bit more of a show. That is good maths
from you. Any other news you've got for us?
Nothing groundbreaking, but one thing I wanted to bring up or just ask about is just the recovery process post-game, because I saw Jack Viney's Instagram story just out in the middle of a lake somewhere. I know Harmsy and Hibbo were...
What are your thoughts on people sharing recovery on Instagram?
Well, it's interesting. You want to talk about 2 different operators. Viney and Harms are probably at different areas of the spectrum and have both seen fit to...
Well, Harmsy accidentally posted it twice, which is great.
That's Harmsy. Summed up.
How good was Harmsy having to... He put up a post pre-game for his sister owns a diamond company and great ambassador of Unique Diamonds, friends of ours.
There's the plug. Yep.
And he's put up a post pre-game, and obviously he's got a glass of whiskey because it looks good with the diamonds.
He's trying to look
it's a great glass, and I'm all for it. And I'm guessing one person has replied saying shouldn't be drinking before game, and bang, they're in his head.
Yep.
He's had to put up another story in writing saying,
making sure everyone knows.
I did not drink out of that glass. We get it, mate. I doubt you had a drink out of that glass.
He's a goose, James Holmes. But
His Instagram is funny, and I don't think it's intentional.
He wants to come back on. I was speaking to him. He wants to come back on. He's actually picked another song. He reckons,
that's good. We need him singing.
Yeah, his acoustics were off last time.
But recovery is obviously big in these 5 days. I'm sure you would have done something yesterday.
Yeah, I did some recovery.
I went down to beautiful Blairgowrie Beach.
How was it? Beautiful?
We had ice baths at Amy Park post-game. And then our terms of, this is our main session today, which is normally our little jog around. But we've done it before.
Yeah. I love it. I think it's good. I don't mind the shorter turnaround, bigger focus on recovery, and I feel like by the time I come to training, so main training is generally like we'd like to do it at game-like intensity anyway, and which we do most weeks, and I think that's our boys are really resilient, so it shouldn't be a problem.
I'm talking like this is big picture and probably above Gus and Gawny, but I think 5-day, 4-day breaks should be a thing, and we should have footy frenzies during school holidays. Almost like the NBL brought every team to Melbourne at one point. I think we should do that during the school holidays and bring lots of football. It is
school holidays and everyone is in Melbourne.
Yeah, but we're just not playing. We're a shortened break because we're Saturday to Thursday, but there could be a Tuesday game or a Wednesday game. Probably should have been a Monday night game this week with the amount of Melbourne footy there was.
Mark the date. It's the 5th of July, 2021, and in 3 or 4 years' time, when this is a thing, I'll come back to this date, and that's a big take from you.
And I spoke about this on Dylan Buckley, Dylan Friends, Dylan Buckley. That actually worked because he's Dylan. Anyway, I think there should be state of origin.
Yeah, okay. So you'd play for New Zealand?
Well, no, because I'm Victorian.
You'd claim the Victorian?
I was born in Victoria.
Okay.
So
you claim the All Blacks.
Well, I
like
lived in New Zealand.
Okay.
With New Zealand parents. Anyway, we're not going there. I'm saying I've never been more patriotic for Victoria. Just the way the government's going and COVID's shaking up Australia. Every state's their own state. I didn't even know that that was a thing. I thought ScoMo ran the country, but apparently the state premiers do. Anyway, the Big V. I would love to put the Big V on and play South Australia, who wouldn't let teams in and have locked their borders for 2 years, and Geelong had to fly at 6 a.m. and sleep underneath tables before a game against Adelaide, and then they were the reason why COVID hit the fourth time with a leak in there. I'm going way too far down a
Sounds like you've got a personal vendetta against South Australia.
But I'm a patriotic Victorian at the moment. We've done it horribly, but it still made me patriotic, and I reckon there'd be a bit in state of origin. I'd love to knock Alex Nilbull in it. No, I wouldn't. He's a friend of the podcast.
Big friend of ours, and you've gone hard there.
And Luke Jackson backing up Nick Nat-Nui over in WA. Oh, I'd love to get my hands on that.
Yeah, well, let's look into it. And that's another, at the same date, mark the date when State of Origin comes back. We're making influence. We're making waves.
Big statements.
One thing I thought you'd bring up on the news is there was an article in the paper on the weekend.
It generally is.
And I felt like we knocked this on the head last year. We came out big. We gave it a little bit of legs. And it comes around Jay Clark and John Ralph.
I didn't see this, so this is a fresh reaction.
They've gone again with the top 100.
They have?
Yeah, they've gone again. They've gone again with a speculation article that sells paper.
Where are you?
Well, they've been nicer to me in terms of dropping me down, but now I'm almost feeling quite the opposite. I'm like, no, you put me back in the top 10.
Okay. All right. So what number? What were you last time? What number were you?
I was in the top 10, and now I'm outside of the top 10. Tracks higher, the higher than me, but that's fair. Just signed a 7-year deal.
Yeah, but that doesn't start till next year.
Good point.
So,
how do they do it? Is it based on this year's
earnings? It's based on speculation. That's how they do it.
Pure and utter speculation.
I know players have like back-ended contracts, and so are they going for average in all years of the contract, or are they going this year?
Didn't read too much into it, and I don't like facts getting in the way of a good story here.
That's true.
But from as far as I know, the people that know my contract are myself, my manager, and Tim Lamb, and maybe
Jess.
Yeah, no, Jess doesn't even know the real figures.
Okay,
she knows a speculated figure, and maybe a few people over the road,
Finance.
CFO, whatnot. I don't think any of them are talking to Jay Clark. I could be wrong.
Well, geez. I mean, that opens a whole other can of worms.
I think it's a speculated article. Buddy was on 1.5 as number one.
Wow. I mean, where do they get off? I mean, there's no way they can get accurate information.
Were you in the 100? I didn't actually check.
I actually didn't. I had no idea this was a thing until you told me.
Imagine if you went out of the 100.
That would be potentially problematic. I would have to go make a few calls, probably to Jay Clark, and give him a blast for. I'm feeling the same. If I'm not
Maybe
in
Tim
there.
Lamb for underpaying you.
Well, that could
But
be
good on them having another crack at the article.
Well, I thought we stamped it out.
I thought we stamped it out,
It
but
must have got good clicks last year, probably on the back of this podcast.
yeah. And I'm not too upset with anyone's numbers in there, but it's pure speculation. But
Okay, well, we'll stop speculating. We'll have a break and then we'll come back with a few other bits and pieces.
Thank you.
Thanks to our co-principal partner and podcast sponsor, Zurich Insurance. For over 100 years, they've been insuring the people and things you truly love. And just like you, they truly love footy and they truly love the D's.
Welcome back. Thanks to our sponsors. Zurich is obviously
Top of the list.
Gets its own space.
Yeah.
That's top of the list. We love the people at Zurich.
Great.
Those that have a Zurich Positive Lingers Keep Cup would obviously be happy with the work Zurich do.
Just in behind Zurich, we've actually had this is a
New sponsor alert.
New sponsor alert.
New sponsor alert.
And
We need a good sound for that. We'll let Stefan come up with a
like
sound.
a siren or something, like an alert noise.
And it's close to home. She's probably angry that Deb has been on the podcast and she hasn't.
I'm sure there's some, deep-seated anger that been overlooked.
But my
at this
mum,
point.
Sandra, has a cafe down in Gippsland, and the cafe is called Olive at Lock.
Yep.
And they have decided to jump on as a
Jump on.
sponsor.
Big sponsor.
And we're still working out the terms and conditions, but there's a chance there could be a brownie for every guest.
Yeah.
Or a
potentially.
hedgehog for every guest.
Yeah, a soup. But you used to drive soup down to St Kilda.
Yeah, she used to be the soup lady at St Kilda. She's known for her scones, jam and cream. So
This is
there's all
a
sorts
good
of
get
things
for
we can
us.
do.
Good get for
I
our
think it's a
podcast.
great get for us. And should be able to lure people like Ed Langdon hopefully onto
Yeah.
the podcast, because it'll be a nice gift to be able to take home some homemade hedgehog.
Lingers have a scone.
Yeah.
And come on.
And
So,
I feel like that's something the Lingers would be interested in.
100%.
And we can't obviously go past our other sponsors that have been there since day dot.
we shouldn't forget them. Obviously, Clutch & Co. We've got Barbie Onions.
Squash.
Squash, of course.
East End Wine
Let's
Bar.
not forget the wine bar.
Yep.
New one coming soon.
New one coming
Details
soon.
to be announced.
Yeah.
No
Hopefully we'll jump on board.
affiliated, sportswear apparel brands.
And of course, Land Rover. Nope, sorry, Jaguar.
Jaguar's good, and I'll just about do it. So we've got there's a bit of lifestyle going on here. We've got rid of all the footy talk.
Yep.
And I've got a couple of big targets to hit. The first one, I think I'm going to go with. I had a bit of backlash from the listeners last week about not knowing what loquacious the word meant in the Who Wants to Be a Millionaire hot seat. It wasn't at all helped. It took you 4 or 5 goes to get the word out, so that might have.
Well, I was
slowed you down.
confused with the Gold Coast halfback, which is fair enough.
Coaches. Okay, so I have done a bit of research. I've googled hot seat questions, and I've got, I think it's 15. So
And let's just be fair, I've won it 9 times in 2 months. That means I've failed 30 times.
So I have, everyone said, Angus, it's not fair. You should get another go at Max. So I have got the questions here, and I'm gonna return serve. So obviously, I'm not sure the increments.
And I'm allowed a lifeline. You just didn't use
You're
yours
allowed
'cause
one
you thought it
lifeline.
was angry.
Yep. So 15 questions. The increments start from $100 for the first one. If you get all of them right, you'll be a millionaire.
Yep.
You've got one lifeline. Who is that? Gibbo? You can have Gibbo.
It could be 50-50 or ask the audience as well.
Okay. All right. So the first question, and it's a bit of a lollipop.
Well, that tends to be the $100 one.
All right. Which German general invaded Libya in 1941?
That's absolute horseshit. You've started with the $1 million question.
Was it A, Wilhelm Keitel, B, Heinz Gudrun, C, Erich von Manstein, or D, Ernst Rommel?
Can I just get the question again?
Sure, mate. That is, which German general invaded Libya in the newly formed Afrika Korps in 1941, January?
Did you know that happened?
B pun?
Did you know that happened? Germany
yeah.
invaded Libya?
Well, yeah, the African theatre of war is a well-documented sphere
Okay.
of World War II.
Um,
Would you like the names again?
No, how long have I got?
Yeah. Near to no seconds.
Okay, so give me the read of C and D again, please.
Eric von Manstein or Erwin Rommel?
It's B.
B. Heinz Guderian.
Oh, no, it's not. It's A.
A. Wilhelm Keitel.
Yep.
It's not Wilhelm Keitel. So you lose. You don't get any points,
With
any
the-
money. It
with
was
the lollipop.
Erwin
I've lost
Rommel.
on the lollipop. Everyone's laughing at home. Well done, Gus. You stitched him up a ripper.
Okay.
Segment's done. We probably can't use it ever again.
Okay. So now that that's out of the way, we'll actually start the real. And this is a lollipop. So question 1. A classic children's party game based on a chase around a circle is known as Duck, Duck, what?
Goose.
Yeah, Duck, Duck, Goose. Congrats. Question 2. Which of these is commonly called a grease monkey? A. Fast food chef. B. Motor mechanic. C. Hairdresser. D. Bodybuilder. And E. If you look at Stefan for help again.
I wasn't looking at him. I nodded at him when it was B.
The camera's there.
Yeah, I nodded at him when I heard mechanic.
So what are you gonna lock in?
Lock in B mechanic.
That's correct.
Good question, though. That was almost
Yeah, the wordy question. Which of these is commonly called a grease monkey? It's not exactly until you hear the answers. Anyway, question 3. Who starred alongside Andy McDowell in 4 Weddings and a Funeral? A. Hugh Jackman. B. Paul Bettany. C. Hugh Grant. D. Paul Bearer. Beherer.
Well, I haven't seen it. I'm going to use my phone a friend early.
Tell you what, for
Well,
someone
it's not A
a
or
lot
C.
of help.
It's not A or C, is my humble opinion.
So
but-
not Hugh Jackman, not.
Well, I
Hugh
don't think
Grant.
it's a famous actor because I doubt I would have phoned a friend.
Yeah, well, I'd hate to let you down now, but I'm pretty confident it's Hugh Grant.
You're
I'm
going to
going to
lock
go
that in?
against Skipper. All right, Hugh Grant. I've used my lifeline. That's it. 4 weddings and a funeral.
It is Hugh Grant. It is Hugh Grant. That's a good save, Gibbo. So now the two of you.
You guys
can I
had a
just
go
say-
at me for not knowing any movies, and I've just swooped in and
Oh,
saved
you know a rom-com with Hugh
I
Grant.
told you I like rom
Oh,
com.
you did say,
You
to
did
be
actually.
fair, that's serendipitous that we're standing here answering rom-com questions. But
Oh, I'm going to be out early.
okay, question
This is
4.
disappointing.
And this goes. The label on a jar of Vegemite says it contains what vitamins for vitality? Is it A, vitamin A, B, vitamin B, C, vitamin C, or D, vitamin V? And if... Yeah, I'm watching because there's been a bit of help. I don't know about
Okay,
that.
so I'll break this down.
Okay,
I don't think it's vitamin C.
okay. What's your reasoning there?
Just I don't think it is.
Okay.
Vitamin A and B make a bit more sense, but I'm also thinking Vegemite isn't that nutritional, and it could be a play on words with vitamin V.
Okay. That's an interesting... That would be a real... There's a 4th question, by the way.
Yeah, well, do you know it?
Well, no, I'm looking at the answer.
Yeah,
I
but
wouldn't
did you know it?
No,
Yeah.
I wouldn't have known this one.
I'm not a Vegemite eater, and
Okay.
I'm starting to think that they wouldn't advertise on Vegemite that they're healthy with the first 3 vitamins.
So
I don't
you're
know.
going for the absolute plot
I don't know if
twist.
vitamin V is a vitamin.
Absolutely, categorically not a vitamin.
But I'm starting to think that it's a play on words and it's vitamin V.
Okay, well, the answer is vitamin B. So you are out on 4. I don't know what 4 is, but that is certainly less than what I got.
At least I was loquacious throughout it, wasn't I?
Loquacious. Yeah, no, look, you were
It's an
good.
entertainment podcast. So.
I reckon...
So that's one of the times I don't win it.
yeah, there
and
you
that,
go.
and
You've
that
lost.
happens.
And you lost on the first one and the
Yeah,
4th
I'm
one.
Kiwi. I told you that.
You
I'm
were
not
upfront
Victorian.
about that. You've got 9, but you don't win every time.
Yeah, and I've been knocked out early, and I'd rather be knocked out early before I get knocked out on the 500, knowing that I was a chance to win $1 million.
Yeah, that's a good point. Anyway, so that was that. So I've got mine back. The people like that segment, so maybe we get a little bit of...
Is that on the label, vitamin B?
vitamin? So it says, and I actually don't know, having never really studied in depth the Vegemite jar. The label on a jar of Vegemite says it contains what vitamins for vitality. Apparently, vitamin B is great for vitality.
Oh, I should have asked you to reread the question.
Well, yeah, I don't know. You should have. Is it there? Vitamins for vitality. There you go. So we'll put a photo
I
of
was
Vegemite.
thinking more about looking at the label than what's good for vitality.
Yeah, okay. Well, that's
poor
your fault.
photo.
Anyway, that's done.
That's okay.
and
I reckon
sewn
I would have
up.
got further than Jacko. I reckon he would have been out of Duck Duck Goose.
Yeah, he,
Is my
he
gut
certainly
feel.
would have got the German generals. Yeah, anyway. So now, look, this is a big segment, and it's good that we probably don't have a guest on so we can really delve into this, but it is time to talk about positive lingers. So
It's Eddie Langdon.
Yeah.
Segment. Can I start?
Sure, please.
Thanks to our team at Zurich. We're
friends of
releasing
ours.
the positive Lingers Keep Cups.
Yeah.
Numbers 61 to 70. If your name is on this list, you are going to have somewhere in between numbers 61 and 70. Contact the club and we'll sort it out from there.
And if you can't understand the pronunciation of your name, email in. We had a tough one last week. What was it? What did you go with?
Was it
Emil?
Ellie? Emily spelled with 2 I's.
Yeah. I can't remember.
Emily was what I ran with.
That was it. Just a quick look. They look pretty stock standard this week.
Jordan Broadway, Brooke Hallam, Andrew Talbot, Mick Yarwood. What a last name. Jock Morley. What a first name. Emma Bruns, Peter Ashley, Ryan Watsey, Scott Manuel. Or Manuel. Is he French? No, Spanish.
Manuel.
And Cassie Pike.
So Ryan Watts, not Ryan Watsey, for those listening and who are called Ryan Watsey and have also entered the competition. It's just Ryan Watts.
Yep.
But that's huge for them.
Peter can share the first names out to people that need them.
Yep. So message in, get your cup. It's a good-looking cup. It's only getting better with age as well. So I don't know, how many are we going to give away? That's a lot. We've given a lot away. 20
I think
so
we
far.
might have a couple more weeks of reading out some names.
Have we lost any more
total.
from theft or deception?
Well, apparently our boss, Matthew Goodrope, has 50 in his car.
Is that so?
I've
I've got number 99 here, so we've saved one from the clutches of death. But
Okay, where were
that's
you?
a good way to start. So Ed Lingdon,
Langdon.
100th game this week. So first of all,
Why
That's
are we
a-
clapping him? He's not a friend of the podcast.
that's a huge effort. Unfortunately for you, Max,
Yep.
you're in the same week. It's your 150th, so you're overshadowed by Lingers, but that's okay. We'll give you a round of applause as well.
Very similar to, what do we
Gunk
call it?
400.
Gut 400.
Also, Charlie Spargo 50 if you want to chuck one in.
Spark's a friend of the podcast? Not yet.
Oh, he'd be good.
He'd be unreal. Let's mark that down.
NBA finals coming up. Might be a good time to get
He
in.
tweets once every month about NBA.
You guys could talk a lot about Twitter.
Great tweets.
All right, we'll get him on next week. But 100 games, big effort. And look, if he was on, this is the point where we'd get a bit sentimental and, say we feel like we've got you here as a podcast and you're in great form. That's probably in the back of us. And we
Freo
feel like
showed
the
him the
sun.
ball.
I know. They wanted him out.
had
We
nowhere to go.
put an arm around you, adopted you as our.
He was going to play at Melbourne Grammar VAFA.
Oh my God. And, all we've done for him, the T-shirts, whatever. But we can almost say the same for you, Max, because let's be honest, you were at a bit of a crossroads of your career.
Yep.
You sided with Jake Lever. That was on the downhill. And then, here we are. So 150 games, that's a fair effort. So congratulations.
Thank you.
Any plans, special plans this week? Or
No, my 100th was against Port Adelaide. Round 1 a couple of years ago. And we lost that. So just a win would be handy.
just a win would be nice.
Wouldn't mind. I think Mum and Dad might be making the trek.
Are we allowed to do that?
Yeah, the borders are open, South
That's right.
Australia, from
Okay.
what I
Brilliant.
understand.
Yeah, brilliant.
Sorry for having a dig at you earlier, South Australia. I think you're a great state.
Great state. Please
welcome my
don't close
parents
us up. Sandra will bring some scones over if you let us.
in. Yeah, so no, just 150 isn't as special as what 100 is for Ed. 150
for
is
someone,
a good
yeah.
notch on the belt, but 100's are pretty special.
Do you get a highlights package shown in the Demon Day meeting?
I'd sure hope so.
Have you picked a song?
Yeah, I sent through a song yesterday.
Okay, what was it? Oh, it was kept a secret?
It was Glass Animals,
Okay, there you go.
not their generic song
Sure.
that Clayton Oliver puts up every time he gets my therapist
Mm-hmm.
off site.
Not a friend of ours.
Yep.
And obviously, we would be speculating, but I think pretty safe to say if you go to see Sticky Fingers 8 times live in concert, that Lingers will have picked a Sticky Fingers.
I've
song.
heard it's 50-50 between Sticky Fingers and Gang of Youths.
Wow.
Because
Okay.
Gang of Youths have like 9-minute songs, and he wants obviously,
Yeah, naturally.
which you did a bit of a power move when you did your 100,
Sympathy for the Devil,
which is like a
Rolling Stones.
6-minute song.
Only goes for 6 minutes.
They were sitting there like
2
watching
minutes of bongos
watching
at the start.
mediocre long down the line kicks because we had nothing more to fill in.
Oh, gee. So that's, good on you, Lingers. And we were close to getting him to come on. We had the contracts drawn up. We're still going to Attica with him. So don't worry, everyone. He'll be on.
Yep.
And that's one thing I did want to talk about, Lingers.
We'll go on.
I don't know the nice way to put this. Have you ever heard of bouldering?
Boulder Dash.
Boulder. So that's a board game.
Yep.
Not the board game.
Also a cafe in Port Melbourne.
There you go. Friends of ours?
No.
Not friends of ours.
No.
Not friends of ours.
No,
We've only
we
got one.
only
We've already
have
got
one.
our cafe
We
sponsor.
only have one affiliated cafe sponsor.
Okay, so Langers and Andrew, old teammates, my younger brother Andrew, having a chat, and it comes out that Ed is into an activity called bouldering. That's his new thing that he's into.
Yep.
Have you, Gibbo, you ever heard of bouldering?
No.
So my understanding of bouldering, and fact check this, I'm almost pretty sure it is like free rock climbing. So you go to like a big like slab of rock, no harness, and you just climb up it. So that's what. Is that correct? Is it fact checked? So look, you remember that video we watched? Alex Honnold. Honnold did that big freak.
Yeah.
Like this guy, and it's safe to say he's a bit of a hippie.
Yeah.
So
he lived at the bottom of the rock for like
he's
2
lived
years
at
or
the bottom
something,
of the rock,
staring
like,
at the
doesn't
rock.
shower, doesn't shave.
Can't
Like,
wait
lets
to
his hair
climb
grow
that rock.
out.
Yeah.
That's the moral of that story. And I'm afraid that Lingers has gone to Fitzroy, and this is like I want to be a part of the Fitzroy hipster crowd,
Well known for big cliffs.
and he's bouldering.
Okay. There is a little rock climbing wall underneath the Monash near Patton Road, fun fact. I wonder if he goes there and does a little bit of practice.
So the positive aspect there is that he's out and about. He's trying to fit into. I'm trying to find something positive.
Why don't
for
they call it
Lingers.
rock climbing?
Well, I think rock climbing has a harness.
Ah, okay.
And so that's a bit less hipster because you're not
Safety.
a chance to fall off and die. Yeah.
Safety. We laugh at safety.
So yeah, it's obviously too mainstream to wear safety gear whilst climbing big
Yep.
rocks. So Lingers is doing that.
I think I've actually heard him have a conversation with Darren Burgess about rock climbing.
Are you sure it was rock climbing, not
Well,
bouldering?
Burjo didn't know what bouldering was, so I think
Yeah.
they had to call it rock climbing,
Okay.
which would have hurt.
Well,
And-
he would be really upset with that. He's also into skating.
Yeah.
He bought himself a skateboard, and there's this like nice smooth concrete outside of Fitzroy Place or something, which he's been shredding up. So Lingers really diving into the culture there. He's also, and this hurts, blocked me on Instagram. But what I love about that is that and this is why it's a positive Lingers as well, because that's just corporate. Think about the corporate America, like you just use a resource, and then when you don't need it anymore, you just discard it. So he's used me really well. Like good on you, Lingers, for I think he gained about 1,000 followers from when he came back from saying that's pretty good. But and he doesn't need me anymore. He's got rid of me. So I didn't cry or anything. And
Didn't you?
I didn't cry at all. And so he's now blocked me on Instagram. So that's a bit of positive Lingers. So you got anything?
Just quickly on milestones.
Charlie Spargo 50.
Yep.
Oh, we mentioned that. John Stanaway
Yes.
450.
450. John
That's
Stanaway.
a huge effort.
You almost call him a friend of the podcast because Clint ruined the podcast and we had to sort
Clint
of,
tanked it and sabotaged it.
which is the son of John.
Also a Channel 9 news anchor.
Channel 9 news anchor. We'll call him a friend because he started the podcast. John has been taping ankles for 450 games. I actually thought that was a bit short. I thought he'd be around the 500 because I think he was like 2,000. Like 21 games. You think Sean Burgoyne, when was his debut? 2003 or 4? Because he played in the granny in 2005, didn't he? 2004. So, and he's only at 400, and I'm thinking he's a couple of years before him, but then he missed last year because of COVID.
Yeah.
But 450, tremendous effort. Has taped ankles of David Neitz, James McDonald, Jeff Farmer, Brad
Max
Green,
Gawn.
Angus Brayshaw, Charlie Spargo.
Actually, hasn't taped my ankles once. I don't get it. Have you seen the size of my ankles?
You don't get them taped?
They're cankles. We don't need them. Don't need them taped. They just stand the test of time themselves.
Have we got anything else to touch on?
Nah, I sort of nailed all the
Do
positive.
you want a
Lingers
Tour de
stats,
France
bouldering.
update just before we go?
International sport.
Yeah.
Wimbledon's on at the moment.
Wimbledon is at the moment. I actually loved NK Rising.
Are
Nick
you going to
Kyrgios.
tweet Isner, your mate?
Isner went out first round.
So probably not.
Marathon, normal. 5 sets. No one could break serve.
7-6, 7-6.
Yeah, pretty much. Kyrgios was actually like hasn't played for like 12 months. Well, played Oz Open, but apart from that, and just comes in, he gets to the third round and
Pulled out with abdominal
yeah,
injury.
but then can still play doubles with Venus. I love everything about Kyrgios. He's making a mockery of the queen sport of tennis. And the tour is the other thing going on. Obviously, there's golf and basketball and F1 and
Soccer.
stuff, but the tour is the main one. Oh, Euros is pretty cool.
Yeah.
We saw an Aussie win last night in Ben O'Connor. Goes to second.
Benny boy.
Benny Boy goes to second in the general classification behind a Slovenian Tadej Pogačar, who is
My boy.
almost the modern day without the scandal Lance Armstrong.
Give it
Like-
time.
Yeah. Give it time.
Give it a few years.
So
Tadej, he's
that's going really well, but that's about it from Latour. Euros is really interesting.
yeah. How's New Zealand going?
Obviously not in Europe, but
Yeah.
so England will play
Fair
Denmark
call.
and Spain will play Italy.
Okay.
Believe it
Who's
or
going to
not.
win that?
I've got. I love an underdog story, so I'm going Denmark to
The
clean up
Danes.
England and just because England are running, it's coming home. which is a great slogan, and like it takes socials by storm when you watch England supporters celebrate goals. But geez, it'd be great watching them lose to Denmark.
Yeah, I'd quite enjoy that too. Anyway,
you happy with that sports update?
Yeah, happy.
Anything else?
No.
Okay, well, thanks a lot, Dogger.
We will get a guest next week.
Yeah.
We'll try again with Langers.
We did all right without a guest.
Yeah.
How long's this one gone for? You're not timing. About 43 minutes. So, look at us, Max. We don't need
We've heard the people speak about Bailey Fritsch. We've spoken about Charlie Spargo.
Charlie Spargo is going to be hard to beat. Luke Jackson's going to give us a visual apology.
Yep, we'll put that on our socials.
And until then, probably see you next week.
See you, Benny.
See you later.